Chapter 3077. Hearing her daddy's words, Pudding walked over shyly. Chin-Chu hugged his daughter and kissed her forehead with fatherly love. You must have taken care of your sister while I was in a coma, right? Not bad. Pudding had always been low-key and never took credit for anything. She also liked to keep everything to herself. In this aspect she was very similar to Chin-Chu. You and Pudding didn't tell anyone about Grandpa's visit. Uncle Rick said you did great. You didn't even tell Uncle Sue you. You even convinced him to let Grandpa do the surgery for me, right? It's my duty, Daddy. You did great. You're indeed my daughter. Chin-Chu gave Pudding a big thumbs up. Hearing the praise, Pudding only smiled shyly, a little embarrassed. Daddy, you have to praise me too. I'm also very good. I hid the truth with Pudding and also learned some amazing medical skills from Grandpa. Really? You're great. Chin-Chu smiled. Daddy, when are we going to find Mommy? Pudding suddenly asked. Chin-Chu's heart sank slightly when he heard this. It seemed like this was a topic he didn't want to talk about after he woke up. Daddy, Pudding misses Mommy so much. I even dream about her. Pudding also misses Mommy. One night I heard Pudding call Mommy in her sleep. Pudding said pitifully. Pudding bit her lip and didn't deny it. Indeed, she and her sister had never been separated from their mommy for so long. Even when they were kidnapped by Hyeongjun and Shinjiani, they weren't separated for so long. This time Hwamin's disappearance was a big blow to the twins. Very soon, as long as Daddy can move freely, I'll go find your mommy. And Daddy promises you that I'll definitely find her, okay? Yeah, I believe in Daddy. Daddy, you're the best. Pudding nodded. Daddy. Grandpa told me this before he left. Explain what? Chin-Chu looked at Pudding. Grandpa said that he destroyed all the medicine you used to take in the house. You're not allowed to take them in the future. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Chin-Chu nodded. He knew that the professor had put in a lot of effort. Grandpa also said, Daddy, you have to control your emotions. This is all a psychological effect. Even if you're sad, you're not allowed to take that kind of medicine anymore. It'll harm your body. Yes. Chin-Chu nodded again and listened to his daughter obediently. Daddy, Little Bean and I can't bear to lose you and Mommy. While you were in a coma, we couldn't eat or sleep well, Pudding said with tears in her eyes. Yeah, Daddy, you're too cruel. You slept for so long. You scared me. I thought you wouldn't wake up, Little Bean said directly. Little Bean, don't talk nonsense, Pudding immediately scolded her. I'm not talking nonsense. Really? Didn't Handsome Sue say that Daddy wasn't doing well? Little Bean asked. When Daddy wasn't here, I didn't worry about you because I knew Uncle Sue would take good care of you. Chin-Chu held Little Bean in his arms and then looked at Pudding. It's not like that, Daddy. No matter how good Handsome Sue is, he's not our real father. We don't want to live in someone else's house for the rest of our lives. Although the Sue family is like our own home, it's not our home. South Hill Manor is. You and Mommy are the family that we can't live without. Wow, our Little Bean has improved. She can say something so mature now. Chin-Chu smiled happily. Little Bean was about to say something when Gao Ran knocked on the door and walked in. Uncle Gao. The twins greeted him in unison. Chapter 3078. Gao Ran nodded. Can the two of you give Uncle Gao and your daddy some time to talk in private? Uncle Gao, what do you want to talk about behind our backs? Little Bean asked with a smile. Buyuan's marriage, Gao Ran said with a straight face. Uncle Gao, you're a bad guy. I'm not talking to you. You're so annoying. Little Bean immediately covered her face and ran out. Shaking her head helplessly, Pudding followed her sister out. What's going on, Chief Gao? You bullied my daughter as soon as you came in, Chin-Chu joked. If I didn't use my ultimate move, your daughter wouldn't be easy to deal with. As Gao Ran spoke, he pulled a chair over and sat down. He sat down beside Chin-Chu's bed, very close to him. Then he casually picked up the dagger and peeled the apple, looking very relaxed. Aren't you going to ask me how I'm doing? Chin-Chu asked. You look so lively. I'm sure you're fine. You know me. Chin-Chu smiled. Gao Ran and Hwamian had known each other for longer than they had known each other since they were young, so they had a lot of chemistry. You really scared me. You were in a coma for so long. It's just a minor injury. Compared to the 4 years in the States, it's nothing. Chin-Chu smiled bitterly. Chu, I finally understand you. Your feelings for Hwamin. Thinking that Chin-Chu missed Hwamin so much that he got paranoid personality disorder and didn't want Hwamin to know about it, Gao Ran felt heartbroken. She's my wife. I should do anything for her. I know. You love her so much that you're willing to do anything for her. But, can you take care of yourself first? How can you take medicine that's harmful to your liver? Gao Ran's words were laced with reproach. Before Qin Chu could speak, Gao Ran continued, in fact Huamin wasn't very happy in the 4 years you were in the States. Although Suyu took care of her, she always missed you. It's not easy for a woman to take care of your company and 2 kids. I know. Qin Chu's voice got lower and lower. So if she loses you, how can Huamin live? You two love each other so much. Why do you torture each other like this? Gao Ran couldn't understand why he had to suffer for the sake of the other party. Qin Chu lowered his head thinking about something and didn't say anything. Suyu and I have been looking for Huamin's whereabouts. You won't be able to find her, Qin Chu said. Fuck. You don't believe in our abilities? Gao Ran teased. It has nothing to do with your abilities. This is a trap that Huasiqian has been planning for years. He's been waiting for this moment. How could he let us find her so easily? That brain of his isn't for nothing. I believe you. Huasiqian is a psycho, but he's really shrewd. If he's been planning this for so many years, then it's not that easy. But no matter how hard it is, you'll keep looking. You won't give up, right? No matter how long it takes, no matter what it takes, I'll find her, even if it means death. Qin Chu was determined. I really don't get it. There are people in the circle who don't understand and say that you're a coward, useless, and can't even protect your wife. This has nothing to do with ability. You're just unlucky that a psychopath took your place. Even if you're a god, if someone has been watching you and plotting against you for more than 10 years, there will still be a time when you slip up, Gao Ran defended Qin Chu. Forget it. I don't care about what those irrelevant people say, Qin Chu said faintly. Do you have a plan to find Huamin? Gao Ran wanted to help Qin Chu. I want to see Lu Yan first, Qin Chu said. Lu Yan? Who? Gao Ran was confused. Chapter 3079. You don't know her, Qin Chu replied directly. Damn, of course I don't know her. Otherwise why would I ask? Who is it? I can tell from her name that she's a woman. Hee. Could she be the mistress you met in the States? Gao Ran teased. Qin Chu, fine, I'm just kidding. Don't look at me like you want to eat me, okay? Gao Ran felt guilty. Don't talk nonsense. It's not as simple as you think. It's very complicated. I'll tell you later. Okay, the most handsome, arrogant, and brave Qin Chu in history. Congratulations on your recovery. You're full of energy again. Let's fight to the death with that big pervert Huasiqian. I swear when I see him again I'll take off my police uniform and beat him up to vent my anger. Damn it, he's not a joke, Gao Ran cursed through gritted teeth. Qin Chu was very calm in the face of Gao Ran's intense reaction. Including this time when he woke up in the hospital, his attitude wasn't particularly extreme. After being in a coma for so long, he thought that he might die and leave this world. When he woke up, he knew that he still had unfinished business. Mian was still waiting for him to save her. Coupled with Qin Chu's strange personality, his reaction was surprisingly calm. Everyone was a little afraid that he would take things too hard. Okay, Chief Gao, I'll rely on you when the time comes. Qin Chu smiled slightly. No problem, we've been brothers for so many years. Your business is my business. Your parents are my parents, your children are my children, and your wife is me. Looking at Qin Chu's murderous gaze, Gao Ran didn't dare to joke anymore and quickly changed his words. Ahem, your wife is like my biological sister, huh? That's more like it. Qin Chu rolled his eyes at him. The news of Qin Chu waking up quickly spread and everyone came to visit. In addition to Rick and Gao Ran, these 2 close friends, Suyu also came. When Suyu arrived, it was noon. Everyone had gone out for lunch and only Qin Chu was in the ward. He had just finished his mother's porridge and was about to drink some water when he realized that there was no water in the cup. Then Qin Chu put down the empty glass. Suyu walked in directly, picked up the cup, went to the side, filled it with water from the kettle and handed it to Qin Chu. Thank you. Qin Chu raised his head and glanced at Suyu. How is it? How's your recovery? Very good. I think I'll be able to get out of bed in 2 days. Qin Chu smiled in a friendly manner. Okay, that's good. Pudding and Little Bean will be very happy, Suyu said. Thank you for taking care of the 2 of them during this period of time. Why do you use the word take care? The 2 of them are destined to be with me. I've watched them grow up since they were born. Although they're not my biological daughters, my relationship with them is definitely more than that. So, taking care of them is part of my job. Hearing Suyu's words, Qin Chu felt a surge of warmth in his heart. Suyu was always a righteous man and never used underhanded methods. This was also why Qin Chu always respected Suyu. But Qin Chu, I want to give you a good scolding, he said. Qin Chu raised his head in surprise. He didn't know why Suyu suddenly said this. Was it because he lost Huamian? Chapter 30-80. Look at you, what kind of father are you? Qin Chu was speechless. You were fine, but you handed your daughter to me. You even asked your stupid assistant to pass the message to me as if you were leaving me a will. It's so tiring. Qin Chu was speechless. At that time I thought, I had a slim chance of survival. How is that possible? You were set up by Huasiqian and you were fine. Didn't you come back safe and sound? People say that if you survive a disaster you're bound to have good fortune. You're still in the future. Don't say such inauspicious things again. If Huamin finds out he'll beat you up. Okay, I won't say it. Live well and find Huamin. Okay, I'll find him. Suyu sighed deeply and stood up. Hey, let's not talk so formally. I'm not used to it. By the way, have you eaten? What do you want to eat? I'll make you something. I just ate porridge made by my mother. I can only eat liquid food now. Yeah, look at me. I forgot that you're still a patient who just recovered from a serious illness. Okay, rest well. I've been trying to find news about Huamin. I'll let you know if I have any news. Okay, rest well. I'm leaving. You, Qin Chu said. Don't thank me. At a time like this, I don't need a thank you. I feel uncomfortable hearing it. Suyu knew that although Qin Chu didn't say anything, he must be very grateful to him. They had all thanked him before. No, I won't say thank you this time. Qin Chu smiled. Well, let's not talk about that between us. I'm not looking at you. We're not friends to begin with. But I'm friends with Huamin and you're my friend's husband. I can't bear to see my friends in trouble, Suyu tried to explain. In fact, he was just being stubborn. Qin Chu had already seen through him. I thank you on behalf of Mian. Look, she's doing it again. Huamin, that wretched girl, won't thank me. She can't wait to slander me. Qin Chu chuckled upon hearing this. Our sharp-tongued Dr. Hua is back this time. I have to ask her to treat me to a big meal to help me get over the shock. I haven't slept well for so many days. Yes, when she comes back, let her treat all of us to a meal for 7 consecutive days. Qin Chu said. Ah, that's a good idea. However, if we let her treat so many of us to a meal for 7 days in a row, will she go bankrupt? He laughed out loud. Just thinking about that scene made him feel warm. No, my wife, she's very rich. Qin Chu's lips curled up slightly. You're right. Huamin is a capitalist. She's really good at making money. Her salary as the vice director is already very high. We can't sympathize with her. We have to slander her for 7 days, Suyu said. After Suyu left, the hospital room returned to silence. Qin Chu picked up his phone and opened the photo album. Looking at Huamin's photo, he couldn't calm down for a long time. Once again, a piercing pain came from his chest. He knew that this wasn't a physical pain but a psychological one. He missed her too much and was in so much pain that it caused him to be in this state. It seemed that if he didn't take medicine, this kind of state would come very quickly. Just like the 4 years he was in the States, his chest twitched and his heart seemed to shrink into a ball. It made him feel a little suffocated. Me. You have to wait for me. I will find you. Qin Chu clutched his chest, his expression extremely painful. At the same time, on the deserted island, Huamin discovered that Huasiqian was missing. Yes, he hadn't seen him for an entire day. He didn't even cook. This had never happened before. Did he leave the island? Huamin wondered. Chapter 30-81. However, based on her understanding of Huasiqian, that shouldn't be the case. Even if Huasiqian left the island for work, he would at least tell her to prepare some ingredients for her to eat. But now, for the entire day, Huamin went out for a walk around the island and then went to the beach to daydream. She didn't have an appetite in the afternoon, so she didn't go back for lunch. She wondered why Huasiqian didn't look for her today. In the past, whenever she didn't go back for lunch, Huasiqian would anxiously look for her all over the island. He would even bring food for her, afraid that she would be hungry. A rumbling sound came from his stomach. Huamin touched her stomach and felt that she was being selfish. Even if she didn't eat, the baby in her stomach still had to eat. Moreover, she wasn't a rich young lady who didn't do household chores. She might as well cook for herself. Who cares where Huasiqian went? Wouldn't it be better if he left? She wouldn't be bored if she was alone. At this thought, Huamin got up and went to the kitchen. She found basic ingredients like rice, flour, and corn oil. There was no refrigerator on the island. It wasn't because electricity was troublesome, but because Huasiqian might want to return to his primitive life. He tried his best not to use those advanced appliances. Whether it was cooking or stir-frying, he used a big iron pot in the kitchen. The bottom of the iron pot was burning wood. Every morning, Huasiqian would go out to look for wood and chop it into firewood. He enjoyed it very much. According to Huasiqian, the food that his subordinates sent was always stored in a cellar behind the wooden house. Huamin knew about cellars. When she was in university, she went out for an internship. She once went to a backward village with her teachers and classmates. In that village, water and electricity were scarce. Not to mention appliances. Therefore, in the summer, to prevent the vegetables from going bad too quickly, every family would store some food and necessities in the cellar. It was similar to the cellar of a villa in the city, but it was definitely not as luxurious. In fact, it was just a pit that was dug by hand and made into a ladder. The temperature in the basement was very low. Huamin had also heard from Huasiqian that the supplies sent by his subordinates were all in the cellar. However, she had never seen what the cellar looked like. He wasn't interested either. Huamin used the remaining firewood from yesterday to burn the iron pot. Then he added water. Using the primitive method, he put water and rice in a small basin and then steamed them in an iron pot. As for the vegetables, she looked around and only found the leftover green pepper eggs from yesterday. She picked it up and smelled it. She felt that the smell had changed, so she threw it away. Huamin didn't pay much attention to the problem of vegetables at first. He thought that it would be fine to eat them casually. But then she suddenly thought of a very serious problem. She couldn't eat every meal, right? If Huasiqian didn't come back for 1 or 2 days, what was she going to eat to survive? In the end, Huamin calmed down and thought about it. He decided to take a look at the cellar. She wanted to see how much food was left. At least she couldn't starve to death on this deserted island. As for the reason why Huasiqian left the island, she was too lazy to think about it. Then Huamin opened the door and walked towards the back of the wooden house. That was where Huasiqian often went, so she rarely went there and had no interest in it. When she got close to the cellar, Huamin started to feel inexplicably anxious. It felt like she knew that something bad was going to happen, but she couldn't stop walking. Chapter 3082. When Huamin reached the entrance of the cellar, she felt a little depressed. Suddenly, he didn't dare to open that small square door again. The door was attached to the ground, so she had to hold the handle and lift it up. Then she had to climb down the dark ladder. Speaking of which, going down to the cellar during the day was indeed a scary thing. Especially on a deserted island like this. Huamin took a deep breath and encouraged herself. Then she suddenly opened the cellar door. Then a gust of eerie cold air hit her in the face. She couldn't help but shudder. Huamin carefully held the flashlight in the room. Then she climbed down the ladder bit by bit. When she reached the ground, she was surprised to find that the cellar was actually huge. It wasn't like the small cellars in the mountain village that she saw before, which were small and humid. This place was surprisingly dry and cool. Moreover, the walls were made of limestone. This kind of style could no longer be described as a cellar. It was even more luxurious than the cellars of some rich people. No wonder Huasiqian liked to come here when he had nothing to do. It was really cool here. Huamin looked at the cellar. There were many ingredients and daily necessities neatly arranged in the cellar. There was an entire box of whiskey, Lafite, and champagne. From small items like toilet paper and laundry detergent, there was actually everything. This scale was comparable to a small grocery store. As for the easy-to-store things like ham, canned fish, and bottled salted vegetables, there were 5 to 6 boxes of each. Huamin was a little slightly surprised. No wonder Huasiqian kept changing the dishes all day long. There were so many ingredients. Huamian held the flashlight in her hand and walked in. When she walked to the end of the cellar, she saw a small door. The walls were made of limestone. However, the door was dark red and even a little rusty. It looked a little scary. The door wasn't locked. Huamin was very curious. What else could be inside? She shone the flashlight and pushed the door open. He found himself in another storage space. Huasiqian must have bought this place a long time ago because this basement was not something that could be completed in 1 or 2 months. Huamin thought as he walked inside. Suddenly, a weak cough could be heard. Huamin's scalp went numb. Who's there? Huamin shone his flashlight in the direction of the voice. He was surprised to find a figure curled up in the corner of the room. Huamin. I knew you would come, he. The man slowly stood up. When Huamin's flashlight shone on the man's face, she felt like her hair was about to explode. That feeling was absolutely horrifying. This person was Huasiqian. It was actually the Huasiqian that she thought had already left the island. But why would he lock himself in here for no reason? In an instant, Huamin's mind was filled with too many questions. Why are you here? Huamin forced herself to be calm and asked him. Why are you here? He asked back. I thought you left the island, so I came down to find something to eat. There's no food up here, Huamin said. Oh, I see. He nodded, not surprised or surprised. Seeing that Huamin didn't speak, Huasiqian waved his hand and smiled at Huamin. Huamin, come here. What? Huamin looked at him cautiously. He didn't move forward and even subconsciously took 2 steps back. I sprained my ankle and can't walk. Can you help me, please? He said with a smile. Chapter 3083. Where did you sprain your ankle? Huamin was skeptical. In the basement, of course. Why else would I sprain my ankle and come here? Huasiqian chuckled. Then why did you enter this room? There's nothing here. Huamin noticed that there was nothing else in the room other than Huasiqian. Why did he enter such an empty room? Shouldn't it be more logical to enter the room where Huasiqian put his things? I just sprained my ankle and couldn't get out, so I wanted to find a place to rest. Is that so? Huamin had a feeling that things weren't that simple. Huamin, are you suspecting me? Huamin looked at Huasiqian from afar and didn't approach him. Huamin noticed that Huasiqian was in a dark corner and she couldn't see what was around him. She really didn't want to act rashly. I'm not suspecting you. I just think something's wrong, Huamin said bluntly. What's wrong? You're too sensitive. Huasiqian sat on the floor and smiled, trying to look calm. But Huasiqian never calls me Huamin, Huamin said calmly. Huasiqian was slightly surprised. He didn't think that Huamin would notice such a small thing so clearly. Yes, Huamin had noticed the way he called him. Although it was very friendly and gentle, he still called Huamin. Huasiqian had never called him Huamin before. Huamin had never called him that. When they were in Sea City, he would call Huamian little sister. Now that they were on the island, he called her Mian. Even if she pissed him off or got mad at him, he wouldn't call her by her full name. The only reason he called her Huamin was because he wasn't very close to Huamin. As for this person, Huamin seemed to have an answer in his mind. You're pretty smart. No wonder that guy likes you. It seems like the rumors of high IQ are true. Huasiqian slowly stood up. As he stood up, the sound of chains clattering could be heard. It was obvious that he was bound by chains. You're Jack? Although he already knew the answer, Huamin still felt very nervous. This was because every time Huasiqian's second personality appeared, Huamin felt like it was a nightmare. If Huasiqian was a psycho, then Jack was a demon. 10 Huasiqians wouldn't be as scary as 1 Jack. Very good, you still remember me. I'm so touched. Huamian. Jack's tone was very strange, especially when he said Huamin's name. He deliberately dragged out the last syllable. Huamin immediately broke out in cold sweat. Even his fingers were slightly trembling. She had always thought of herself as a calm person in the face of danger. But at this moment she still felt panic, fear, and despair for no reason. Are you chained? Huamin's gaze locked onto Jack's hands and feet. They didn't look thick, but they were abnormally strong. The chains were very new and very smooth. There was no one else on this island other than her and Huasiqian, so who chained him? Huasiqian, that coward, can only do things that hurt himself. If I said he was the one who chained me, would you believe me? Huamin didn't say anything after hearing this. She just kept trying to figure out if Jack was telling the truth or not. For her, neither Huasiqian nor Jack could be trusted. Chapter 3084. Why did he lock you up? He's a psycho, so he locks himself up for fun, Jack said airily. That shouldn't be the case. As far as I know, Huasiqian isn't a reckless person. He loves himself a lot. So you don't believe me? Jack raised his eyebrows and asked. I just want to say that Huasiqian didn't lock himself up. I'm afraid It's you, right? Huamin stared into Jack's eyes and said word by word. There seemed to be a slight change in Jack's eyes. Huamin was indeed not a simple woman. Especially at a time like this, she was still very cautious. That's funny. What's the difference between locking me up and locking himself up? It's not like you don't know our situation. It's hard to say, but I think he wouldn't do something like this for no reason. Let's not talk about this for now. Huamin, there's only you and me on this island. If I stay locked up like this, I'll starve to death. It's okay if I starve to death, but once I die, you'll be in danger too. Do you know that? You can't live on this island alone. So what are you trying to say? What I'm trying to say is let me go, and I'll let you go. You'll let me go? Huamin was a little confused. Obviously, she didn't believe Jack's words. My relationship with Hua Xiqian is like this. We share memories, so I know what he did to you. He planned for so many years just to take you out to a place where no one can find you. If you stay here with him, you won't be able to escape. I'm sure you know the situation on this island better than I do, so it's impossible for you to run away. If you wait for someone to come and save you, it might take 100 years. Plus, if you live here for a year or two, he might move again. Hua Xiqian's love for you is more stubborn than you can imagine. Huamin didn't say anything and just listened to Jack's analysis. But I'm different. I'm not him. I'm Jack. I'm an independent personality. I don't like you at all. I'm free. Let me go and we'll leave this place together. Then we'll write off the grudge between us and you can continue to want revenge. That's your business. The most important thing is to leave this godforsaken place. It was obvious that Jack despised this place. His attitude was the complete opposite of Hua Xiqian's. Hua Xiqian loved this place very much. He had even made up his mind to grow vegetables here with Huamin in the future. Therefore, Huamin thought that this might really be an excellent opportunity to escape from this uninhabited island. At the very least, if Hua Xiqian regained his personality, he would never let her go. Seeing that Huamin was hesitant, Jack began to persuade him even more. Don't hesitate anymore. This is a rare opportunity. He's been taking a lot of drugs every day to suppress my appearance. There aren't many opportunities for me to appear. If you don't take this opportunity to escape, you won't have another chance. Do you understand? Jack kept pressuring Huamin. I understand what you're saying, but why should I believe you? How do I know that you won't harm me after I help you open the chains? Huamin asked. So, since it's all unknown, why don't you take a gamble? Jack's smile was a little strange. Huamin was once again in a dilemma. If she didn't let him go, then what Jack said was right. Once Hua Xiqian regained his consciousness, he wouldn't let her go no matter what she said. Jack really didn't like her. It was obvious from the few times they had fought before. Then, should she take a gamble? Chapter 3085. In Sea City. In Shin Mingxi's private mansion, he came in with a thermos flask and Tian ran to him. Uncle Shin, you're back. Yeah. Tian, have you had dinner? No. Huh. Didn't the housekeeping auntie that uncle called over make dinner for you? Yeah. She did. Why didn't you eat? Don't you like the dishes? Shin Mingxi asked. Well. Tian shook her head. Before Shin Mingxi could ask, Tian continued. I just want to wait for Uncle Shin to come back so we can eat together. Didn't I tell you not to wait for me? I get off work late. But I don't have an appetite when you're not home. Let's eat together, okay? Okay. Tian smiled like a flower. Sister Fong, heat this up. Shin Mingxi handed her the thermos flask. Sister Fong was the best housekeeper recommended by the housekeeping company and was very considerate in cooking and taking care of children. As a man, it was inconvenient for Shin Mingxi to take care of Tian alone. Besides, he didn't have the time or energy. So he hired a housekeeper. But Tian didn't seem to like it. Whenever Shin Mingxi came back, she would stick to him. She even wanted him to watch her sleep. This child didn't seem to have a sense of security. Uncle Shin, what's that? Is it delicious? Yeah. It's delicious. What's delicious? It's pork bone soup. It's delicious. Well, Uncle Shin, where did you buy it? Tian glanced at the thermos flask in the housekeeper's hand and asked. I didn't buy it. A friend gave it to me, Shin Mingxi said casually. Who gave it to you? Tian didn't want to give up and wanted to get to the bottom of it. It's. Shin Mingxi hesitated slightly because he didn't know if he should tell the truth or if it would affect Tian. Did Auntie Wei Ying give it to you? Tian Tian asked. How do you know? Shin Mingxi looked at the child in surprise. Because she cares about Uncle Shin the most. She's been trying to please you, Tian Tian said. Shin Mingxi squatted down, hugged Tian Tian and said patiently, Tian, let me tell you, fawning is a derogatory term. It's not suitable to be used in this kind of conversation. He thought that the child was too young and might not know the meaning of the words, so he couldn't grasp them well. However, Tian Tian seemed to be very calm as she looked at him and corrected him. I know that fawning is a derogatory term. It's not good language. Shin Mingxi was stunned again, but Auntie Wei Ying does have ulterior motives. She's been trying to please you. Shin Mingxi, Uncle Shin, I don't like Auntie Wei Ying. Can you stop hanging out with her? Tian Tian, why don't you like her? She's very fierce. She was very rude to me and Mom before, yelling and screaming. She always bullies us. She's a bad woman. Shin Mingxi suddenly remembered that Wei Ying had done many things to hurt Hui Yanyan and her daughter because of her obsession with him. But that was a long time ago. Now Wei Ying was no longer the rude and unreasonable woman she used to be. She had been reborn. Listen to Uncle Shin. Auntie Wei Ying is not that kind of person anymore. She's realized her mistakes. But she won't like me, Uncle Shin. Why do you think she won't like you? Shin Mingxi was surprised by what Tian Tian said tonight. Chapter 3086. It's because she's my mom's enemy. Who told you that? My mom told me. What did she tell you? Shin Mingxi suddenly realized that he had forgotten about Hui Yanyan's teachings to Tian Tian. My mom said, Auntie Wei Ying is a bad person and that she must deal with her. What else? Shin Mingxi continued to ask. She also said, don't let Auntie Wei Ying be with Uncle Shin and torture her. Shin Mingxi exhaled deeply. As expected, Hui Yanyan had hidden her intentions well. It turned out that she was very scheming and had planned everything step by step. Compared to a scheming bitch like Hui Yanyan, Wei Ying was hot-tempered but didn't play tricks. She was much easier to forgive. Seeing Shin Mingxi's dark expression, Tian Tian leaned against his face and said in a small voice, Uncle Shin, I know you'll find another woman if you don't stay with my mom. But don't go with Auntie Wei Ying, okay? She's on bad terms with my mom and won't treat me well. She'll kill me. Tian Tian, it's between adults. You don't understand. I don't care. I don't want Uncle Shin to be with Auntie Wei Ying. Ooh. Then Tian Tian ran into her room. Tian, it's time to eat. The housekeeper Fong came in with a bowl of reheated pork bone soup. But Tianan knocked her to the ground. The pork bone soup spilled out and almost scalded the housekeeper, making her step back in fear. Mr. Shin, what's wrong with Tian Tian today? She's acting strange. I was going to ask you that. What's going on? Did someone come to our house today? Shin Mingxi frowned slightly. No. Fong was also confused. At this moment, Shin Mingxi glanced at the newspaper at home. The headline of the entertainment section was a photo of him and Wei Ying. It was a photo of them being intimate with each other on the eve of their wedding. But why would they dig up such an old photo? Shin Mingxi picked up the newspaper and read the headline. Rumor has it that young Master Shin and his ex-wife have been interacting a lot lately and are showing signs of getting back together. Shin Mingxi finished reading and put down the newspaper. Who brought this back? Sir, I bought them. When I went out to buy groceries, I had some spare change. I bought a few newspapers. Tiandan doesn't know so many words. Did you tell her? No, this really isn't me. Maybe she used some software on her phone. I really don't know why. I'm sorry. Please don't fire me. Miss Fong hadn't been here for long and didn't know Shin Mingxi's temper. She was scared and thought that Shin Mingxi was going to scold her. Then it's fine. Sister Fong, you go ahead with your work. I'll go to the room to check on the child. Shin Mingxi was actually very tired after a day of work in the company. He had to be both a father and a mother when he came back. Today Wei Ying went to the company to see him. They didn't talk for long before she left after putting down the pork bone soup. She said that he hadn't recovered from his injuries after the car accident, so she was helping him nourish his body. To be honest, Wei Ying was a completely different person now and Shin Mingxi did feel differently about her. But Tian Tian, it was indeed a difficult problem. Not to mention whether Tian Tian would accept Wei Ying or not. Wei Ying probably wouldn't accept Hui Yanyan's daughter either, right? After all, the old grudge. The Municipal Public Security Bureau was in charge of the mental hospital. Two young nurses gossiped in the hallway. Did you hear? Young Master Shin and his ex-wife are getting remarried. The media is talking about it like crazy. Yeah, they're a perfect match. They shouldn't have divorced. It's all Hui Yanyan's fault, the despicable third party. Hui Yanyan sat on the hospital bed, leaning against the wall with her hair disheveled. After hearing this, her eyes gradually turned cold. Chapter 3087. Someone come quickly. Hui Yanyan dashed off the bed like a madwoman and shook the locked door with all her might. What's the matter? The nurse looked at her impatiently through the bars. I want to see that bastard Shin Mingxi. Get him here. I want to see my daughter. You think you can see whoever you want? Who do you think you are? The nurse glanced at Hui Yanyan in disdain. Bitch, shut up. Help me find him or I'll kill all of you. Hui Yanyan seemed to have lost her mind. She glared at the nurse with fury in her eyes. You're indeed a psycho. Who wants to talk to you? Young Master Shin is busy. You don't know yet, right? He's getting back together with his ex-wife. Hui Yanyan's face turned livid when she heard this. When the time comes, your daughter will be sent to an orphanage. Miss Wei won't be able to accept your daughter. Hui Yanyan clenched her fists in fury. If it weren't for you, young Master Shin wouldn't have gotten a divorce. You're just like your mother. You're addicted to being a mistress, aren't you? Unfortunately, your mother got married, but you didn't. You ended up being abandoned. Shut up. Trash. Hui Yanyan pointed at the nurse and yelled. What's the point of getting mad at me? I'm telling the truth. You're crazy and no man will want to talk to you. Young Master Shin only cares about you and comes to see you a few times. Do you really think it's true love? Idiot. There was a reason for the nurse's harsh words. One of the nurse's cousins was good friends with Wei Ying, so she knew a lot about the rich and powerful. That was why she hated Hui Yanyan so much. You won't have a good ending for treating me like this. Just you wait. Hui Yanyan cursed viciously. In the military hospital, Qin Chu was now able to move freely. This was his last day in the hospital. Qin Ning took the initiative to accompany her brother, so in the middle of the night, only the two of them were left in the large ward. Qin Ning lay on the sofa and fell asleep with her clothes on. Qin Chu, on the other hand, couldn't fall asleep for a long time. He slowly got off the bed. He wanted to be quiet so that he wouldn't wake Qin Ning up. But this girl was a light sleeper, so she still woke up. Big brother, where are you going? Qin Ning rubbed her eyes and slowly sat up. I need to go to the toilet. Call me, I'll help you there. I can walk now. I've almost recovered. I don't need you to support me. Go to sleep. No, you've just recovered from a serious illness and your wounds may not have healed yet. You can't make any mistakes. Qin Ning was willing to stay because she didn't trust anyone else to take care of her brother. To her, taking care of her brother was something she wanted to do. Ning, I'm really fine. I'm just too bored and want to go out and get some fresh air, Qin Chu said. Big brother, are you starting to feel sad again? Qin Ning's eyes darkened as she tried to figure out what Qin Chu was thinking. Qin Chu didn't say anything. During his 4 years in the States, Qin Chu couldn't sleep because he missed Huamin. He would wake up in the middle of the night to drink coffee and tea, and in the end he would take medicine to suppress it. To Qin Chu, that feeling was constant torture. No one could imagine what it was like for a normal person to be unable to sleep. Qin Chu's worst experience was that he couldn't close his eyes for an entire week. It was extremely painful. He was also very thin and his eyes were deeply sunken. Qin Ning's heart ached when she saw him like this. I'm fine. Don't lie to me. Other people don't know, but I do. Sister-in-law is your life. When Qin Ning said this, her voice trembled slightly. She was crying. Chapter 3088. Now that Huamian was in trouble, it was like taking away half of her brother's life. Qin Chu leaned against the window and sighed slightly. He picked up a cigarette and was about to put it in his mouth when Qin Ning snatched it away. No smoking. The doctor said so. It's okay. Just one. No. Qin Ning was adamant. I'm a doctor too. I know how it works, Qin Chu explained patiently. Oh. Big brother, don't be like this. I really feel bad for you. Qin Ning shed tears. Big brother, it's okay. I'm really okay. I'll find Mian. I will. Qin Chu's voice was very soft, as if he was comforting Qin Ning but also comforting himself. Big brother, think about it. Even if Mian isn't home, you still have 2 kids. When you were in the hospital, Pudding and Little Bean were so pitiful. They couldn't stay in the Su family peacefully. They even argued and Little Bean insisted on going home. They're so young and their mother is no longer by your side. Big brother, you have to take care of yourself. Ning Ning, do you think I'm useless? Why do you ask? Qin Ning was slightly surprised. I've been with Mion for so long but I haven't brought her much happiness. Instead I've been hurt wave after wave. 8 years ago her father Jingda died in a car accident. Then I was framed by Hua Xiqian and she took the blame for my murder. In the 4 years that I was missing she protected herself and her kids. She stayed in the Su family and raised the kids. I realized how useless I am. I've been dragging her down. Big brother, how can you think like that? You and Mion are deeply in love with each other. But my love is so fragile. Every time she's in trouble I can't help her. Big brother, it's not your fault. Even Su, you couldn't save Mion. Hua Xiqian, that psychopath, has been plotting against your family. No one can handle it. It's not your fault. Qin Ning noticed that after her brother woke up, there was a subtle change in his mentality. She had never seen such a state of self-denial in her entire life. This was because her brother was a very conceited person when he was young. He was extremely arrogant and would do everything to the best of his ability. It was almost as if he was pursuing perfection. But when it came to Huamin, he couldn't protect her well. Over time he began to doubt himself. This was not a good sign. Big brother, you have to adjust your mentality. We can't admit defeat. Sis-in-law is still waiting for you to save her. Qin Ning tried to persuade Qin Chu. I'm fine. Go to sleep. I'll be fine after a while. Qin Chu didn't say much. He looked out of the window with a complicated expression. There was a lighter in his hand. The symbols on it were creepy, but Qin Ning didn't understand them. In the basement of the deserted island, Huamin and Jack were still confronting each other. Huamin, what are you still thinking about? Are you really going to miss such a good opportunity to escape? There's nothing on the island right now. Let me ask you, how are you going to let me leave the island? Huamin looked at him quietly. That's easy. Don't Hua Xiqian's people come every once in a while? They send supplies. I can take you away during that time. They won't suspect boss and no one knows me. Very few people know of my existence. Jack smiled proudly. So you're saying that even if I let you go now, we'll still have to stay on the island until Hua Xiqian's people come, right? Something like that. Jack nodded. That's easy. Then I'll let you go when Hua Xiqian's people come. Huamin already had an idea. Huamin, what do you mean by that? Jack's face gradually darkened. Chapter 3089. What I mean is, I can't let you go right now. How can you go back on your word? Jack was furious. Go back on my word? No, I never promised to save you, so it's not going back on my word, Huamin replied calmly. You idiot. You actually gave up your only chance to escape from the island. Jack gritted his teeth and glanced coldly at Huamin's face. This was indeed a reaction that Hua Xiqian had never shown her before. Don't say that. I'm not stupid, that's why I can see the situation clearly. I do hate Hua Xiqian. But Jack, you make my hair stand on end. Yes, Huamin already knew the answer in his heart. He would rather give up this chance to escape than believe Jack's words. They had fought before and this man was a complete madman. In comparison, although Hua Xiqian was annoying, at least he could guarantee her safety. Then you can die of old age on this island. Jack sneered. I'm actually curious. Since you share memories with Hua Xiqian, then you should know where the key is, right? Huamin asked tentatively. Are you trying to trick me? Of course not. If you want me to save you, don't you have to tell me where the key is? Huamin laughed. Woman, why should I believe you? You're not going to let me go? Why would I tell you where the key is? Jack seemed to be angered by Huamin. Fine, if that's the case, then the negotiation is over. Stay here. After speaking, Huamin turned around to leave. Huamin, if I die, it won't do you any good. If I die, Hua Xiqian will die too, Jack said anxiously. Huamin turned around and continued to chuckle. That's great. Isn't this killing 2 birds with 1 stone? Both you and Hua Xiqian are my mortal enemies. But if we die, after a while, when his subordinates find out that something happened to the boss, they will send you down to the Yellow Springs to accompany me. Jack smiled sinisterly. Do you think I'm afraid of death? Huamin thought Jack's words were ridiculous. Of course you won't be afraid. But don't you have another one in your stomach? Do you really want Your child to be burdened to death by you before he even sees the world? Huamin's expression changed slightly upon hearing this. It seemed that Huasiqian and Jack's memories were indeed shared. Jack even knew about her pregnancy. From the looks of it, you're the one who's at a disadvantage. Why don't you take care of yourself? After speaking, Huamin turned around and left, without looking back. Come back, you bitch. Jack cursed crazily, but Huamin didn't look back. Was she going to starve this guy to death in the basement? No, Huamin wouldn't do that. She would bring him food on time every day and keep him alive. At least Huasiqian couldn't die yet. Huamin really didn't want to die here with him. When Huamin climbed out of the basement and breathed in the fresh air outside, she suddenly felt that it was great to be alive. After calming down, she thought of something very important. Jack was chained up in the basement, so it must be Huasiqian's doing, right? But why would Huasiqian do that? From what Huamin knew about him, he probably knew that his illness was about to act up and he was afraid that he wouldn't be able to control his second personality, so he locked himself up in advance. If that was the case, the key definitely couldn't be in the basement to prevent Jack from escaping. Huamin knew this very well. No matter how bad Huasiqian was, he wouldn't hurt her. However, Jack was different. Jack could kill her at any time without mercy. At this thought, Huamin hurried back to the cabin and began to rummage through the things Huasiqian left behind. Suddenly, an old-fashioned cell phone slipped out of one of Huasiqian's pockets. Huamin couldn't suppress the joy in her heart, as if she had discovered a new continent. Chapter 3090. She always thought that Huasiqian didn't bring any electronic devices with him because he was afraid of being tracked. Plus, she hadn't seen Huasiqian make any calls or use his cell phone for so long. To her surprise, there was one. Although it was an old-fashioned cell phone and wasn't smart, it was the only communication device that allowed her to contact the outside world. Huamin took the cell phone and turned it on smoothly. She thought that Qin Chu would be very excited to be his first call. But to her surprise, after turning it on, Huamin was dumbfounded. It required a 6-digit password. No matter how smart Huamin was, it was only in the medical field. He wasn't a high-tech hacker like Lu Yen. After calming down, she tried to remember Huasiqian's birthday. It wasn't right. Then she entered her own birthday. It still wasn't right. Then she entered Hu Jinghai's birthday. She even remembered Yan Ruoshi's birthday. She had seen it on Weibo before. It seemed to be October 1st, but it wasn't right. In the end, she used a simple number like 1234566. 654321 in despair. But it still wasn't right. Finally, Huamin gave up. She put the cell phone aside quietly. At this moment, something caught her attention. On the table where she was eating, next to the glass of water, was a very small key. Although it was small, the workmanship was very complicated. When did this key appear here? Did Huasiqian leave it here on purpose? Was this the key on the chain that locked Jack? Although she found the cell phone and couldn't use the password, she was relieved that she found the key. At least she knew that the key wasn't in the basement and that Jack couldn't get it. So she didn't have to worry about being hurt. It was getting late. The weather on the island was unpredictable, just like a child's personality. Sometimes it was blue and sometimes it was windy. For some reason, there was a sudden storm that night. The sea was no longer romantic at night. Instead, it roared and howled like a wild beast. Huamin sat alone in the small wooden house, unable to fall asleep. She clutched the quilt tightly, feeling terrified. On this uninhabited island there were only the two of them, Huasiqian. Usually it was fine and she wasn't that scared. But now Huasiqian was gone, and the person in the basement was the crazy second personality Jack. At this time Huamin felt like he was in danger. He was very, very afraid. She missed Qin Chu very much and wanted to throw herself into his warm embrace. She really wanted him to tell her, "Honey, don't be afraid, I'm here for you," but the reality was still so cruel. She had never thought that there would be a day where she could live in fear with a psychopath with dual personalities on the island. Absolutely not. South Hill Manor. Qin Chu stayed in the military hospital for the last night and was discharged. In order to celebrate his healthy discharge from the hospital, everyone planned to come over for a meal. The two elders of the Qin family had already prepared the food. After the incident at home, Qin Chu fired all the nannies except for Uncle Li, who was brought back. Of course, it was also because Huasiqian had planted spies in the nannies, so they were fired. The two elders of the Qin family and Uncle Li went to buy groceries early and came back to prepare. Chin Chu took the kids to the garden in the yard to water the flowers. Then his friends arrived one after another. Other than Ni Yang and the others who went back with Chinjia, everyone else was there. Jiang Xiaowei, Wei Liao, Gao Ran, Zhu Lingling, Tang Chuan, Qin Ning, Rick Cici and Suyu. Suyu was the first to arrive. He drove his black Lamborghini and there was a lot of delicious food in the trunk. Wow. Handsome Su, I love you so much. Seeing the food, Little Bean hugged Suyu enthusiastically. Do you love me or the food? Suyu asked with a smile. Chapter 3091. Handsome Su, what are you talking about? Am I that kind of person? Little Bean felt wronged. You are, Pudding and Suyu said at the same time. Damn it. Daddy, look. Qin Zhaozhao and Handsome Su are bullying me. Little Bean turned around and complained to her daddy. Whoa, little brat, you know how to complain? Do I have to step aside now that your daddy is better? Suyu teased her. Oh, what are you talking about? Handsome Su, you've been with me for a long time. You should know me. Handsome Su knows you too well. That's why he said that. Pudding laughed. Go away, stinky Pudding. Don't cause trouble here. I'm trying to get closer to Handsome Su. Hey, how do you want to get closer to him? Suyu hugged Little Bean and looked at her lovingly. Handsome Su, you bought all my favorite things. So you love me more, right? Little Bean said with a smile. You're flattering yourself. Of course. My sister doesn't like sweet things. She's afraid of getting fat. But I saw that all the things you bought today are sweet. You're smart. You can have them all. I'll keep some. You can take the rest. I can't take so many. Little Bean was surprised to hear this. Well, Miss Little Bean, the sun rose from the west today. You used to die when you saw these things. Why are you asking me to take some back? What's going on? Because my mommy doesn't like me to eat sweet things. She's afraid my teeth will be bad and unhealthy. Little Bean said it very seriously. But Suyu felt a lump in his throat when he heard this. Little Bean, Gao Buyun is here. Why don't you go pick him up? Pudding changed the subject. Really? I'll go and see. Hearing her sister's words, Little Bean immediately jumped out of Suyu's arms and ran toward Gao Ran's car. Pudding walked over to Suyu. Handsome Su, Little Bean didn't mean it. Don't be too sad. You know how to read minds. Can you guess what I'm thinking? Suyu smiled. I know you're as sad as we are about Mommy. I know. Pudding reached out and placed her hand on Suyu's shoulder. Her small palm gave him great comfort. I'm fine, Pudding. I'm really fine. I've always been confident that your mommy will be fine. But your daddy, my daddy has just recovered from a serious illness and has already thought things through. He has his own plans for mommy. My sister and I didn't say a word, but we both know very well. Your family's IQ is almost as high as a company. You're really going to become a demon, Suyu continued joking. Pudding. Wei Yunchu got out of the car and called her name from afar. Damn. That brat is here too. Go find your friends. I want to talk to your daddy. Okay. Pudding nodded and walked toward Wei Liao and Jiang Xiaowei's car. Suyu walked slowly to Qin Chu. Are you okay? Yeah. I'm almost recovered. What's your plan to find Huamin? I'm already looking for him. I'll tell you when I find some clues. But we don't have any clues. How are we going to find him? I'll go see Oching after dinner. I've seen Oching. He doesn't know much. I think he's hiding something from you. I'll talk to him alone and see if there are any new clues. I'll wait for your news. Suyu. Yeah. The old man who operated on me. Suyu looked at Qin Chu in confusion. That's Mion's biological father, Qin Chu said faintly. Upon hearing this, Suyu was completely dumbfounded. Chapter 3092. What? So you thought he was hallucinating. But Qin Chu didn't repeat himself. Instead he stared at Huamian with a serious expression. Did you just tell me that the mysterious old man who operated on you is Mion's biological father? Yes. Oh my god. Siyu was shocked again. No, I need to calm down. Siyu put his hand on his heart, feeling it was racing. Qin Chu didn't say anything, but, something's wrong, Qin Chu. Didn't Mion's father do that thing many years ago? He finally realized. Jingde isn't her biological father. So you're saying that Mion's mother isn't her biological mother? Siyu finally understood. Yes. It all started with what happened in the hospital years ago. Then Qin Chu explained Huamin's background to Suyu so he could understand. After hearing this, Suyu was once again speechless from shock. So you're saying that the ordinary-looking old man I talked back to is a Chinese professor that even the FBI has to respect? Yeah. I was so stupid to say that to him, Suyu said, blaming himself. It's not your fault. After all, he didn't reveal his identity. You should be careful. I knew it. Putting in Rick knew. This old man must be someone special. I didn't expect him to be. The professor's identity is very special, and many people have ulterior motives toward him. Of course he has to be careful. You understand? Hey, so Mion has an awesome little sister. Hearing Qin Chu mention Lu Yen so casually, Suyu knew things weren't as simple as they seemed. She was a little girl, but she was famous in the mercenary world. She couldn't be an ordinary person. Yeah. Then the one who snuck into the hospital and drugged my bodyguard to see you should also be her, right? That should be the case. Qin Chu nodded and speculated. Mion's family has amazing genes. That's her biological mother. The matter of the biological mother is a little complicated. She and I haven't figured it out yet. I'll tell you bit by bit in the future. Do Mion's mother and Jixin know about this? I don't know. The less people know about this, the better. Qin Chu said. What about Hu Xiqian? Hu Xiqian knows. He has known about this for a long time. Fuck, that bastard actually knows about it. This time he was in such a hurry to take Mion away and set this trap. Must have something to do with Ian. Ian. Suyu felt as if he had entered a whole new world when he read this unfamiliar name. These things. Before Qin Chu could finish, Hu Xiqian interrupted him. Suyu immediately replied, I won't tell anyone. Don't worry. I know. What I mean is, these things aren't that simple. Mion's identity and her family are very special. Leave the rest to me. What do you mean? Suyu glared at Qin Chu. I don't want you to be involved, Qin Chu said directly. Yes, things had escalated to this point. Qin Chu felt that Suyu might be in danger if he continued to be in charge. Ian didn't seem to be giving up either, whether it was hunting down Lu Yen or investigating Huamin's background. They might run into each other in the future. What would the Su family do with such a dangerous person? Chapter 3093. Do you think I'm scared? Don't underestimate me, Suyu said proudly. It's not a matter of fear. Then what is it? Suyu was obviously not convinced. Ian is a murderous demon. The serial murders that have happened here before, the murderers were never caught and the victims died tragically. Those were all Ian's masterpieces. Are you saying that he came to our place? Yes, and he's been investigating Mion's background. What's Ian's background? Why are you so afraid of him? Suyu wasn't stupid. He could tell that even someone like Qin Chu was afraid of Ian. He's the leader of a terrorist organization. But that's not the most important thing. What's scary about him is that his methods are terrifying. It's not something normal people like us can accept. Then, he wants to catch Mion because of the professor? Suyu wasn't stupid. Yes. Then why doesn't he catch Mion? She's good at fighting. Suyu was puzzled. He's been trying to catch her, but it's not that easy to catch Lu Yen. Damn it. Okay, it seems like I underestimated him. Yeah, that's why I'm telling you all this. I actually want to say... Before Qin Chu could finish, Suyu interrupted him. You actually want me to be a coward from now on? Qin Chu, although we're not close, I'm Huamin's friend. I'm the kind of friend who would trade my life for his. I know, Qin Chu said. You know, and you still want me to be a coward? Is that my style? He was a little angry. I know you're not afraid, but this isn't a small fight. We're not facing normal people. You're the only descendant of the Su family. I don't want Lord Su and the others to worry about you at their age. Qin Chu was thinking too much. The Su family had helped them and he couldn't let Suyu put himself in danger because of them. Qin Chu was being kind. At least he was thinking about Suyu. Qin Chu, do you know what I hate about you the most? He suddenly asked. Qin Chu looked at Suyu in confusion. I hate it when you act so righteous as if no one else in this world can be sacrificed except you. Yes, you're the best, you're a saint, okay? Qin Chu, if I, Suyu, was a coward, I probably wouldn't care about you guys. You should have heard that back then. In order to get Mion out of prison safely, I pointed a gun at my own head and forced my grandfather into a corner. At that time I thought that if my grandfather cared I might as well kill myself. So, to you guys and outsiders, I'm the son of a high-ranking official, the only descendant of the Sioux family, the grandson of Commander Sioux, the heir of the Sioux family. I'm the heir of a billion-dollar fortune. But to me, I only have one identity, and that is, I'm a very important friend of Huamin. Hearing this, Qin Chu wasn't surprised. It seemed that with Su Yu's personality, he wasn't afraid of death and wasn't the kind of person who would run away in the face of danger. I wasn't afraid of death back then, and I'm not afraid now. So, don't fucking talk about Ian or Ivar. I don't care, I just want to save Mion safely. If you're worried that I'll steal your credit, you can just tell me, Su Yu said boldly. Why would I? Qin Chu smiled faintly. This man Su Yu always impressed him. Daddy, there's a fight outside, you should go check it out. Little Bean ran over and grabbed Qin Chu's hand. You guys are fighting? Qin Chu was puzzled. Who would be so stupid to fight in his house? Chapter 3094. Hearing the quarrel outside, Qin Chu stopped talking to Su Yu. The two men walked out and sure enough, they saw Jiang Shaowei pulling an agitated Wei Liao from afar. Wei Liao? That can't be. He doesn't like to make the first move. Su Yu was puzzled. He had known Wei Liao for a long time and knew that he was an introverted person who didn't like to talk. But at this moment he was indeed very agitated and making a ruckus. Did he quarrel with his wife? Qin Chu was slightly surprised. That's impossible. He always listens to Dr. Jiang. The two men talked as they walked. When they got closer they saw that it was Wei Liao and his sister Wei Ying. Wei Ying wasn't on the invitation list, so Qin Chu was surprised that she came. What's going on? Wei Liao. What's wrong with you? Su Yu went over to comfort Wei Liao first. It's fine, I just wanted to teach my disappointing girl a lesson. Wei Liao's anger still hadn't subsided. Why are you here? Su Yu looked back at Wei Ying and asked directly. Big brother Si. Wei Liao was a bit embarrassed. I told you I asked Ding to come. Jiang Shaowei interrupted. Don't, sister-in-law. I can't let you take the blame for this. This has nothing to do with you. It's like this, big brother. I had something to talk to Mingxi about today. I called him and he said he was on his way here, so I thought I should come here too. You didn't expect me to be here, did you? Wei Liao said coldly. No. I didn't want to hide it from you. Big brother, don't be angry. How can I not be angry? How many times have I told you not to contact that kid from the Shen family? You guys are already in the past. Wei Liao was a little agitated. Brother, he and I are now just friends. There's really nothing else. Friends? Who are you kidding? Do you think I'm you? Wei Liao was even angrier. He pointed at Wei Ying's nose and scolded her. Jiang Shaowei hurriedly hugged her husband's waist and coaxed him. Hubby, let's go back and talk. This is someone else's house. We're just being polite. It's not appropriate to do this. It's okay. We're not unfamiliar with Qin Chu. I'm just going to deal with some family matters. I believe he'll understand. After Wei Liao said that, everyone immediately looked at Qin Chu. President Wei, do as you please. Qin Chu was indifferent to this matter. Since it was a family matter, it was not appropriate for others to intervene. Shen Mingxi hadn't arrived yet, but from Wei Ying's words he was on his way. What are you doing here? Go home. Don't make a fool of yourself. Wei Liao was even angrier when his sister refused to leave. Brother, I really need to talk to Mingxi about something urgent. Go out and talk. This is the Qin family's house, not a place for you to date. Old Wei, you're being too strict. You don't have to go that far. There are so many people here and Shen Mingxi can't do anything to your sister anyway. Is it necessary? Su Yu spoke up for Wei Ying for the first time. Lord Su, it's none of your business. Wei Liao told Su Yu to stay out of it. For some reason, the media had been spreading the news that Shen Mingxi and Wei Ying were getting back together. But his sister's injury was still fresh in his mind. Even if Wei Ying could forgive him, Wei Liao and the Wei family couldn't accept it. At this moment, a black Porsche Cayenne slowly drove into South Hill Manor. Young Master Shen is here? Zhu Lingling glanced at the car and said in a low voice. Everyone fell into silence. Wei Liao's face grew darker. Chapter 3095. Sorry, there's a traffic jam. They said the whole city is on alert for a marathon. Shen Mingxi said with a smile. Then he opened the car door and carried Tian Tian out of the back seat. She was wearing a blue princess dress and hairpins, looking very glamorous. "You're all here so early?" Shin Mingxi asked proactively. Before the others could speak, Wei Liao pried Jiang Shaowei's hand away and strode over, punching Shin Mingxi hard in the face. This sudden punch made him very confused. He had no strength to resist at all. He swayed and almost fell to the ground. "You're a bad guy. Why did you hit my uncle? You're a big bad guy." Tian Tian rushed over in tears, grabbed Wei Liao's arm and bit it hard. Perhaps it was because she was too angry and thought of Wei Liao as a bad guy, so she bit him like a crazy person. Wei Liao's hand was bitten so hard that it left a bloody mark on it. Wei Liao frowned in pain, but he couldn't do anything to a kid. He was only angry at the conflict between Shin Mingxi and his sister, so even though he was bitten, he didn't do anything. "Gosh, your dad was bitten." Holding Gao Buyuan's hand, Little Bean glanced at Wei Yunchu beside her. Pudding also glanced at Wei Yunchu, but she didn't say anything. Wei Yunchu was wearing black shorts, a light blue short-sleeved shirt and a black bow tie, looking like a little gentleman. The kids were about the same age, but Wei Yunchu was the least talkative. Seeing his dad hurt, Wei Yunchu rushed over without a word and grabbed Tiantian's braid. Then he pulled it hard. "How dare you bite my dad? Are you a dog?" Wei Yunchu yelled at Tiantian. Then he rudely pulled her hair and flung her away, causing her to fall to the ground. "Ooh, you're all bad guys. I don't like it here. Hey, let's go." Shin Mingxi hurried over to help her up. Seeing this, Wei Ying took out a wet wipe and handed it to Tiantian to wipe her dirty hands. Unexpectedly, he was pushed hard by her. "Get lost, you bad woman. If it wasn't for you, things wouldn't be like this. Why are you so shamelessly clinging onto my Uncle Shin? Can't you find a man?" Wei Ying was slightly shocked. "Thundan, shut up. You're not allowed to talk to your elders like that. Am I wrong? What kind of senior is she? My mom said that she's just a liar who likes to take the initiative to chase after men. She can't even give birth to a child, so no man likes her. She's trying to get close to Uncle Shin with ulterior motives." Tiantian seemed to be getting worse. Shin Mingxi hurriedly covered her mouth to stop her from continuing. "Xiao Ying, don't take offense at a child's words." Before Shin Mingxi could say anything, Jiang Shaowei was also a little angry. "Don't take offense at a child's words. None of the kids here would say such things. It seems Hui Yanyan has instilled the idea of a bitch into this child. Yeah. This little girl looks cute but has a vicious tongue. How can she do that?" Zhu Lingling also found that she didn't like this child. "Sis, is that Tiantian? I feel like she's possessed by a ghost." "She's annoying," Little Bean said in a low voice. "I haven't seen her in a long time. I don't know why she's like this," Pudding said. "Hui Yanyan used to be a good friend of Huamin, and Tiantian often came here to play with the twins. At that time, Pudding didn't think Tiantian was such a mean child. Ing, did you hear that? How long are you going to be a bitch? Even Hui Yanyan's daughter looks down on you." Wei Liao looked at his sister with heartache. Chapter 3096. Big brother, don't call me. Go home. Hurry up. Wei Liao was scary when he was angry. Well, it's the first time I've seen Uncle Wei so angry. It's scary, Little Bean said. He must be very angry. Otherwise he wouldn't be like this. Yeah. Sis, your future father-in-law has a temper. Huh. Little Bean joked. Pudding rolled her eyes at Little Bean and didn't continue. Hurry up and go home. My dad looks really angry. Wei Yunchu tugged at the corner of Wei Ying's dress. I know. Good boy, nephew. Wei Ying reached out and patted her nephew's head. Then she looked at him apologetically and said in a low voice, "Big brother Mingxi, I'll talk to you about that thing at your company tomorrow. Don't come to my Uncle Shen again." "We don't like you," Tiantian interrupted. Wei Ying glanced at Tiantian with mixed feelings and stood up. "Big brother, don't be angry. I'll leave." "Old Wei, what are you doing? You're happy just because you forced the girl to leave." Tang Chuan was speechless. He wanted to stop the fight, but Qin Ning wouldn't let him. Qin Ning thought it was the Wei family's business and outsiders shouldn't interfere. "I'm doing it for her own good," Wei Liao said. "Okay, since they're all gone, let's eat. I'm starving." Tang Chuan tried to lighten the mood, not wanting everyone to be so nervous. "Sit down in the dining room. We're ready to eat," Qin Chu announced as the host. Everyone was tactful enough to walk inside. Rick supported Cece as they walked inside. Cece, how far along are you? Zhu Lingling asked curiously. Her eyes fell on Cece's belly. Cece was wearing a peacock blue dress. It was a Korean style and was very loose, suitable for pregnant women. Her shoes were flat-soled. It was obvious that both she and Rick cared about the baby. Almost 3 months. Cece smiled. So fast. 3 months. That's about the same time as my Mion's second child. You can be her in-laws. Zhu Lingling continued to gossip. Upon hearing about Huamin's second child, everyone fell silent. Qin Chu on the other hand looked calm. You really couldn't take it anymore. His eyes hurt a little. After rubbing them, he strode into the room and stopped listening to Zhu Lingling and Cece's conversation. Lingling, don't mention Mion all the time. Everyone feels bad. Gao Ran kindly reminded her. So what? Isn't my Mion fine? He'll be back in a few days. I've prepared so many baby clothes. It's not like he's dead. Why don't you bring him up? Compared to other people, Zhu Lingling was more open-minded. She was sure that Huamin was fine and that he would come back. Therefore she didn't hold back when she talked about him. Auntie Lingling is right. Mommy will be back in a few days. Behind them Little Bean said sweetly. Everyone walked in but Shin Mingxi held Tian Tian's hand and stayed at the door. When Pudding saw this, her hand holding Qin Chu's hand paused. Daddy. Yeah. Qin Chu looked down at his daughter. Look, Uncle Shin doesn't want to come in, Pudding reminded her daddy. Qin Chu turned around. Shin Mingxi was holding a box in his hand. He must have just taken it out of the car. President Qin, this is a gift for your recovery. You're too kind, President Shin. No. I've done a lot of bad things in the past, but you and Dr. Hua are magnanimous enough to forgive me. I just wanted to see you today and didn't have any other intentions. I didn't think Wei Liao would get so worked up. I'm sorry that I delayed your banquet. Shin Mingxi looked at Qin Chu apologetically. Chapter 3097. It's okay. We're all good friends and won't mind. My kids are crying. I won't stay for dinner. I'll visit you another day. Compared to the others, Shin Mingxi wasn't as comfortable as the others. He was still polite to Qin Chu and kept a distance from him. Since you're here, come in and sit for a while. After recovering from his illness, Qin Chu was touched to find so many friends who cared about him and his kids. No, I'm not free today. I'll treat you another day and discuss the cooperation between GK and the Shin Corporation. Shin Mingxi smiled sincerely. Hearing Shin Mingxi's words, Qin Chu didn't insist. Taking the gift, Qin Chu held Pudding's hand and walked inside. The gift wasn't opened, but from the packaging, it seemed to be a set of expensive porcelain. Daddy, yeah? Why doesn't Uncle Wei Liao like Uncle Shun and his sister being together? They had some conflicts before, Qin Chu explained. I think Auntie Wei Ying likes Uncle Shun but Uncle Wei wants to separate them. Well, is this what they mean by breaking up a loving couple? Pudding, you're so gossipy today. Daddy thought you were possessed by Little Bean. Haha. I'm in a good mood because Daddy is recovering from his illness. Pudding was rarely in a good mood. After everyone sat down, Qin Chu walked in with Pudding but didn't see Shin Mingxi. Yeah. Where's young Master Shin? Tang Chuan asked Qin Chu. He left. Tang Chuan was surprised. Yeah. He said he had something to do and wouldn't eat. I guess he's afraid we'll get mad at him. Tang Chuan chuckled. Wei Liao's face was still grim. They weren't used to his serious expression. After Wei Ying left, so did Shin Mingxi. Old Wei, do you think Ying Ying will continue to meet Shin Mingxi behind your back after she leaves? You still owe me. Qin Ning secretly pinched Tang Chuan's arm. She was annoyed by how he liked to watch the drama unfold. Ouch, don't pinch me, it hurts. If you go out, I don't care what you do, but don't do it under my nose. Wei Liao said. All right. Let's not talk about being unhappy. Let's eat. Qin Chu's recovery is a good thing. Jiang Shaowei immediately tried to smooth things over. The two elders of the Qin clan served the dishes one after another. Then the two old men and Qin Ning's father went to eat in another small restaurant. Leaving space for these young people, thank you for taking care of us while I was sick. Thank you for taking good care of Pudding and Little Bean. Qin Chu rarely spoke politely. Therefore when they were being so polite, everyone felt quite embarrassed. Brother-in-law, don't say such things. We are a family. Get out of here. Who's your family? Shameless. Qin Ning pinched Tang Chuan's face again. Hey Ning Ning, you can't deny it. Your dad agreed to our relationship. If you don't believe me, we can go over there and ask him. Tang Chuan was always good at livening up the atmosphere. Here's a toast to all of you. Thank you to all my friends. Then Qin Chu was about to toast when Little Bean scolded him. Daddy, you're not allowed to drink. Ahem. Pudding coughed to remind him. The foreign old man who operated on you said you're a patient and must take good care of yourself. You can't drink. A little red wine is fine. Qin Chu chuckled. You can't do that either. Here, I'll give you mine. Good girl. Little Bean ran over and handed her glass to Qin Chu. It was also red, but it was blueberry juice. Qin Chu held the glass and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Son, your future daughter-in-law seems very powerful. Will she control our whole family after she marries you? Gao Ran teased his son. Chapter 3098. Dad, what are you thinking? Little Bean is very cute. She's not strong at all. Compared with Pudding, she's very gentle. Pudding is gentle too, Wei Yunchu corrected them. Looking at the two boys who didn't seem to understand what was going on and defending their future daughter-in-law, everyone burst into laughter. The atmosphere instantly became a lot better. Because of the incident with Shin Mingxi and Wei Ying, they were in no mood to continue eating. Daddy, drink it. Try it. It's good. Little Bean stood before Qin Chu and looked at him without blinking. He was afraid that she would drink. This girl was very responsible. Daddy, try it. Finally, Qin Chu had no choice but to take a sip of the blueberry juice. Is it good? Little Bean asked expectantly. Yeah. Good. Then drink it up, Qin Chu. Ha. Little Bean, your dad was a hero. But in the end you subdued him. Gao Ran couldn't stop laughing. Uncle Gao Ran, you're wrong. I didn't subdue him. I cared about him. Yes. You're right. You're pretty, so everything you say makes sense. Gao Ran felt that Little Bean's cuteness could melt his heart. So, Qin Chu, do you still want to toast me? Rick joked, which was rare of him. The blueberry juice is good. I'll toast to everyone with the blueberry juice and wine. Thank you. Seeing Qin Chu's sincerity, everyone raised their glasses. During the dinner, Qin Chu received a phone call and his expression changed slightly. Enjoy the dinner. I'll be back soon with a guest. Qin Chu stood up. Brother-in-law, don't worry. I'll take care of them for you. After saying that, Tang Chuan immediately waved his hand. Come. Don't be so polite. Eat and drink and eat. Master Tang, you're really shameless. You think you're the owner? Suyu laughed at him. Yeah, I'll be a part of the Qin family sooner or later. Tang Chuan held Qin Ning's hand and smiled. If your mother hears this, she's going to explode again, right? Suyu was amused. If the pot explodes, then let it explode. Anyway, I want to eat popcorn. Tang Chuan disagreed. When it came to his mother's opposition, Tang Chuan's approach had always been very clear. That was to always protect Qin Ning, even if it meant going against her mother. However, he didn't think that this was an unfilial act. He knew his mother's strong character. Seems it's better to have a daughter. Cici, is it a boy or a girl? Didn't they say that overseas technology is so advanced that they can tell the gender of the baby at a very early age? Zhu Lingling asked. Jiang Xiaowei said, that's right. That's why a lot of pregnant women from rich families or celebrities go to Hong Kong as soon as they're pregnant. They can tell the gender first. Some people want a boy, but when they see it's a girl, they abort it. So cruel. That's so stupid. If everyone has a boy, they'll be gay. They won't even be able to get a wife. Zhu Lingling said indignantly. Honey, watch what you say. After all, there are children here, Gao Ran reminded her. It's okay, Uncle Gao. We understand what Auntie Lingling means, Pudding said calmly. Gao Ran, so is Auntie Cici pregnant with a boy or a girl? Pudding tilted her head and looked at Cici. Hearing this, Rick gently put his hand on Cici's shoulder. We didn't look, Rick said. Cici also smiled. We don't care about that. It doesn't matter if it's a boy or a girl. It's our child anyway. I wonder if it's a boy or a girl in my mommy's belly. Pudding sighed slightly and thought of her mommy. Little Bean, why are you talking about this? Pudding quickly changed the topic. Dr. Ho must be pregnant with Neza. Ziyu suddenly said. Chapter 3099. Neza. Tang Chuan froze. The others were also confused. They didn't seem to understand Su Yu's joke. Ever since she got pregnant with this child, there have been so many disasters. I think this child must be very powerful, so he took his mother through the tribulation. He said. Tribulation? Lord Su, have you read too many cultivation novels? Tang Chuan laughed at him. This soup is really good. I'll get more for everyone. Jiang Shaowei obviously didn't want them to continue the topic of Huamin. Every time Huamin was mentioned, everyone was sad. So she changed the topic. Everyone knew what she meant, so no one continued the topic. In the study, when Qin Chu walked in, Qing immediately stood up from the sofa. President Qin. Sit, Qing. It had been a long time since they last met. Qing looked very haggard. He was wearing dark gray shorts and a white short-sleeved shirt. There were faint scars on his arms and thighs. During the years he worked for Hua Xiqian, he was often injured because of his important missions. When Qing worked for Hua Xiqian, he was very cold. Now that he had returned to normal life, he was much more humane. President Qin, are you okay? I'm fine. Good. Qing nodded. How's the child recovering? Qin Chu asked. Very good. I've been observing him and there are no signs of rejection. I asked several doctors to check on him and they all said the surgery was very good. Thank you very much. Qing, don't be so polite. Do you know why I came to see you today? I know, President Qin. Listen to me first. Qin Chu interrupted Qing. Okay, go ahead. If Hua Xiqian didn't die, you would be in a dangerous situation. From what I know about him, even if he didn't come back, he would send people to kill you. After all, you betrayed him. I know. Qing nodded again. That's why I've already arranged for you and your child to leave this place. Leave? Qing was a little surprised. You don't have any relatives or friends in the first place. That child doesn't have any relatives or friends either. The two of you can live wherever you go. It's better to change places and start anew. Qing bit his lip and fell silent. When I was hospitalized, I know that Su Yu looked for you. You've told him everything you know. I won't ask you anything else. Take these. What's this? Qing took the paper bag that Qin Chu handed to him. Open it and have a look. Qing followed Qin Chu's instructions and slowly opened it. He found a title deed and a check for 3 million yuan inside. This is a house I bought for you in Hong City. Your name is written on the title deed. It's not big, only about 100 square meters, but it should be enough for you and your child. I didn't buy you a car because I didn't know what brand you liked. Take this money, you can cash it out at the bank. In that city, 3 million yuan isn't a lot, but it's enough for you and your child to live comfortably. At this point, you can't go back to Hua Xiqian and you can't stay with me. So, start a new life, a normal life back in China. President Qin, how can I take this? I don't deserve it. Qing's face was full of guilt and his heart was full of bitterness. In fact, he didn't do anything for Qin Chu. He just passed on some information, some of which were fake. Qin Chu saved him at a critical moment. Otherwise, he would have been killed by Hua Xiqian's people. Take it. Let's not talk about this. Anyways, leave this place and get out of here as soon as possible. Qin Chu patted Qing's shoulder. Just as he got up and was about to leave, Qing suddenly yelled behind him, President Qin, wait a minute. Qin Chu stopped in his tracks. His face was still as calm as water. He seemed to know that Qing had something to say to him. Chapter 3100. President Qin, I have another piece of news. I want to tell you. Qing's voice trembled. Qin Chu didn't say anything. He just slowly turned his head. Although I don't know where Hua Xiqian's private island is, I know that there are some photos locked in a drawer in his study. What photos? Qin Chu looked at Qing calmly. It's a set of photos of islands. But all the islands in the world look the same. There's no way to tell. Qin Chu was a little disappointed. Yes, just like Bali, the Maldives, Phuket and Saipan. If he took a picture of any island by the sea, they all looked the same. There was no way to tell which island it was. But I also noticed that there's a photo at the end. It's a city with a symbol. I think that since this photo appeared in the photos of those islands, there must be some connection. Qin Chu raised his sword-like eyebrows. The Sydney Opera House. Australia? Qin Chu suppressed the ecstasy in his heart, but his expression was still very calm. Ching nodded. But Huasiqian doesn't let us go abroad every time. He should have a group of people over there, Ching added. I understand. Qin Chu nodded. I don't know if this information is useful or not. Seems like the scope is quite big. Ching lowered his head, a little ashamed. No, you've already told me enough. Thank you, Ching. No. President Qin, please don't say that. I owe you a lot. Ching looked very conflicted. Let's not talk about that. It's all in the past. Take the things and leave as soon as possible. Sooner or later Huasiqian and I will come to an end. I hope you can find Miss Hu soon. Oh no, I mean your wife. Ching had been with Huasiqian for too long and had always called Huamin Miss Huamin. However, in front of Qin Chu he suddenly felt that it was rude to call Huamin that way. In the end, Qin Chu watched as Ching left South Hill Manor. Qin Chu knew that he would not return. He would not be involved in this battle again. He had indeed used some special methods on Ching. You could call it a trick or a persuasion. Ching had been with Huasiqian for a few years, so he knew what was going on. He had asked before and Suyu had also asked when he was unconscious, but Ching didn't say a word. What was the reason? It was very simple. After following Huasiqian for so long, Ching still had feelings for Huasiqian as a master and servant. He didn't want to reveal everything until the very end. After all, Huasiqian was alone while there were so many people here. Qin Chu alone was scary enough and now Suyu was here as well. Once they found Huasiqian they would chop him into pieces, right? Ching didn't want his former master to end up in a miserable state, so he kept the clues about the island a secret. However, after Qin Chu used his last trick, Ching couldn't handle it anymore. In fact, some people were like this. If you beat them, scolded them or even tortured them they might not be afraid. Ching wasn't the kind of man who was afraid of death. Therefore, special methods had to be used to deal with him. Ching wasn't afraid of anything, but he was afraid of others being nice to him. Perhaps it was because of this that Qin Chu used this trick. Sure enough, under the pressure of Qin Chu's kindness, Ching couldn't hide his last secret anymore. He knew that with Qin Chu's intelligence, even if he only gave a general description of a place, he would use the fastest time to find Huamin. After Ching left, Qin Chu stood by the window and whispered, Australia, right? Huasiqian. We will meet again soon. Chapter 3101. Inside Shin Mingxi's private mansion because of Wei Liao, Shin Mingxi didn't have time to have dinner at Qin Chu's house. When he got back he went to work and left Tian Tian in the care of Ms. Fong. Since it was the weekend and Tian Tian didn't have to go to school, she was at ease in the Shin family as if she owned the house. To be honest, Ms. Fong didn't like this kid and thought she had a strange personality. There were even times when the words he said and the look in his eyes were a little malicious. On TV, the reporters were interviewing Wei Ying about her new store and she stood in front of the camera in high spirits to answer the questions. Tian Tian turned off the TV immediately. Miss Fong. What's up, Miss Tian Tian? Who do you think is prettier, Wei Ying or my mommy? Tian Tian suddenly asked with a straight face. Miss Fong didn't know how to answer the question. She had never seen Hui Yanyan in person and had only seen some photos on Tian Tian's cell phone. Tell me. Is it that hard to answer? Tian Tian was a little angry. Your mommy is prettier. Miss Fong knew if she said Wei Ying was prettier the kid would be angry. Sure enough, Tian Tian said smugly, yes, I think so too. If my mommy wasn't prettier, Uncle Shin wouldn't have divorced Wei Ying and married my mommy and me. Don't you think so? I have to correct you. Whether she's pretty or not, even a fairy has a moral bottom line. She can't break up other people's families and be the third party. Do you understand? That's not right. Miss Fong felt the kid's morals weren't right. What are you talking about? My mom isn't a homewrecker. What do you know? She dated Uncle Shin before Wei Ying and they've been in love with each other for a long time. That woman Wei Ying used despicable means to take Uncle Shin away from my mom. If there's a third party then Wei Ying is the homewrecker. Miss Tianun, who told you this? Miss Fong was shocked. Tian Tian looked about 5 or 6 years old. How could she say so much? If I even need to tell you? Even a blind person would understand. You're just a nanny, a servant. What do you know? Don't think that you can reason with me just because you're older. In this house I'm the master and you're a servant. What right do you have to lecture me? After hearing Tian Tian's words, Miss Fong was speechless. This was the first time she had seen such a child. She wasn't like this in front of Shen Mingxi. She always looked weak and called him Uncle Shen. It was so sweet. Mr. Shen really doted on her, but my mommy is mentally ill and might not be able to come back to this house. But I'll never let Wei Ying in. Tian Tian sneered and turned to go upstairs. Fang Jie, who was mopping the floor, paused for a moment. She held the mop in her hand and felt very upset. He was already so scheming at such a young age. What would happen when he grew up? On a deserted island, Huamin played with his old cell phone. She regretted that she didn't learn how to hack. Although she had hacked into Lin Mingyu's computer and peeked at his confidential data, that was with the help of a computer. Now, facing an old cell phone with her bare hands, she was helpless. She regretted that she didn't learn how to hack. If Lu Yen were here, she would have done it in a matter of minutes. At this moment, faint roars came from the basement. Huamin stood up slowly. Chapter 3102. This time, Huamin didn't panic in fear like before because she knew that Jack's freedom had been restricted. No matter how strong he was, the iron chain could still imprison him. Huamin carefully climbed down the ladder with a flashlight in her hand. When she passed by the storage room, she took some food and pushed open the door to the small room. "Bitch, let me out, or I'll kill you." Jack glared at Huamin fiercely. "You'll kill me if I let you out," Huamin said calmly. "Give me the key. Trust me or you'll die a horrible death." Jack tried his best to persuade Huamin, but she wasn't moved. So he lost his patience and slandered her, even cursing her. "I do have the key, but do you think I'll give it to you? Bitch. Go to hell." Jack's eyes were like a beast's. He wanted to tear Huamin into pieces. At this moment, Huamin suddenly felt lucky that she hadn't been persuaded by this cunning guy. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been able to survive. It seemed that Jack's appearance and the fact that he was locked up in the basement for no reason made the situation clear. Hua Xiqin probably felt that she couldn't suppress her second personality anymore, so she locked herself up in advance. She also left the key in the wooden house. To be exact, she left it for Huamin. Hua Xiqin knew that Jack had always been a hot-tempered guy. He had no pity for Huamin. It seemed that Hua Xiqin still thought about Huamin even at the most critical moment. At least he left her a way out. Huamin was grateful to him for this. "If you're done scolding, eat something. I really don't want you to starve to death. After all, I'm quite afraid of being alone on the island," Huamin said as he stood far away from Jack. Looking at the ham and some hardtack that Huamin had thrown on the ground, Jack was annoyed. "That's all you're giving me?" He seemed rather dissatisfied. "What else can we do? Do you still want to eat abalone and lobster?" "I wish I could, but unfortunately I don't have one." Huamin didn't think much of it. Can't you make some porridge or something?" Jack looked disgusted. "What? Porridge? What kind of joke was this? You wanted to kill me, so why would I cook porridge for you? Was there something wrong with my brain? I'm kind, but I'm not a saint." "Thank you. For a crazy person like you, it's good enough that you have something to eat. If it weren't for the fact that you're sharing a body with Hua Xiqin, I wouldn't even bother to feed you. I'm not going to eat this garbage. Then starve to death. By the way, here's the water. You can drink it all and use this empty bottle to pee." After saying this, Huamin rolled a bottle of water across the ground and got up to leave. "Stop, don't go. Come back here." Jack didn't seem to give up. However, Huamin ignored him and continued walking. "Ouch, my leg hurts. I think I'm having a cramp." "Huamin, aren't you a doctor? Can you please take a look at me?" Huamin held the door handle with one hand and stopped walking. She turned around and glanced at him faintly. "You won't die from the pain." After saying these words, Huamin opened the door and left. "Stupid bitch, Huamin, you'll die a horrible death. See if I don't cut you into pieces when I get out." Jack continued to rage. After leaving the basement, Huamin took a deep breath. She didn't know how long Jack would be in this state. If Hua Xiqin woke up, it wouldn't be a good thing for her. Because no matter what, she couldn't leave the island right now. The path from the basement to the cabin was full of weeds. Suddenly, something caught Huamin's attention. Her eyes immediately lit up. Chapter 3103. At South Hill Manor in China, after the guests left, South Hill Manor was empty. "Sir, you haven't fully recovered yet. Go and rest. I'll take care of things here." Uncle Lee walked over. "I'm fine, Uncle Lee. You don't have to treat me like a patient. I'm back to normal." "That won't do. After all, you just had surgery. I saw the old madam made you some tonic soup in the kitchen. You should rest. Chin Chu nodded, turned around and went upstairs to the study. Then he sat down in a chair and a string of numbers appeared in his mind. He dialed the complicated numbers on his cell phone. 10 seconds later, a girl's image appeared in the air. "Oh, I'm Lu Yen. Where are you? What? Even you're interested in my whereabouts?" Lu Yen chuckled. "No, I'm not interested. I just want to see how far you are from where I'm going. I'm in the air on a private jet." Lu Yen leaned against the leather sofa in the inner cabin and stuck out her tongue playfully. "Where are you flying to?" "Brazil. I'm going to collect a debt." "Collect a debt?" Chin Chu frowned slightly. "She's going to collect a debt," Xiao Fei interrupted. "Shut up." Lu Yen glared at Xiao Fei. "What's going on?" It's an enemy of mine. I've been looking for him. Someone saw him in Brazil, so I'm going to kill him," Lu Yen said casually. She made it sound as if killing someone was as easy as killing a chicken. "Then don't go. I have something more important for you." "What is it?" Hearing Chin Chu's tone, Lu Yen knew it must be something important. Now, it seemed that the important thing Chin Chu was talking about had something to do with her sister. "I found some clues that might lead to your sister's whereabouts." "Really?" Lu Yen stood up in excitement, unable to suppress her ecstasy. "Aching said Sydney, so it must be Australia, which means it's close to Australia. Check all the big and small private islands around Australia, the faster the better. Find out which island owner is Chinese. No, Huasiqian, that cunning guy, would never use his own name. He wouldn't even use a Chinese name. Maybe it's a foreigner's name. Anyway, check all the islands around Australia." "Australia? That's not far away. Where did you get the information? Is it accurate?" Lu Yen was hesitant. "You don't have to ask me where I got it from, but the news is definitely reliable. It's definitely from Australia." Chin Chu believed that the last piece of information Aching told him was absolutely true. He wasn't spouting nonsense. This was human nature. "I'll check it now. But I don't think it's that easy," Lu Yen said. "Yeah. Maybe he installed some electronic devices on some of the islands to block the signals. So, you have to check the locations of the islands from the ancient archives. Also, you have to pay attention to which islands have frequent visitors recently. There should be records. Australia is so big and has so many surveillance cameras. It's impossible that they can't capture any of them. I don't believe Huasiqian would be so careful." Chin Chu was sure that Huasiqian would make a mistake. "I got it. If the information is accurate and my sister is really in Australia, I think I'll be able to find her in less than 3 days," Lu Yen said smugly. 3 days is too long. "Lu Yen, I'll fly there tonight. Let's meet in Sydney," Chin Chu said. Chapter 3104. At night, Huamin went down to the basement to see Huasiqian, or rather Jack. When she opened the door and entered, he was leaning against the wall, sitting there. He didn't eat the food she gave him, but he drank all the water. Seemed like he was very thirsty. Hearing her footsteps, he slowly looked up. "Mian, you're here." His tone surprised Huamin slightly. "Mian, how long have I been unconscious?" He asked hoarsely. Don't you know what happened?" "I know, of course I know. Is it because Jack is coming out to make trouble?" "So, I locked myself up and put the key in the room. You saw it, right?" "When did you wake up?" Huamin looked at him calmly. "An hour ago," he said calmly. "Then why didn't you call me?" "Because I knew you would come." "Haven't you been bringing me no Jack food and water all this time?" "But he didn't eat it." Huamin looked at the untouched food and said, "Yes, Jack is very suspicious. He won't eat the food you give him. He's afraid that you'll do something to it." "Then let him starve to death," Huamin said. Huasiqian smiled faintly. Huamin carefully observed Huasiqian's expression. Indeed, the hostility in his eyes was gone. "But, Mian, can you unlock the door for me? Can you let me out? I can't stay in this dark basement forever." "Let you out? Do you think I'm that stupid? But if you don't let me go, my subordinates will come after you if they can't see me. You're so smart, you shouldn't do something so stupid." "When will your subordinates come?" Huamin had always wanted to know how long it would take for them to come so that he could find a way to leave the island. "Mian, are you trying to trick me?" Huasiqian smiled. "Yes. Do you think I would tell you such a secret?" "It's good. You can continue to stay here." After speaking, Huamin turned around and left. In an instant Huasiqian's eyes turned sinister. Oh, by the way, you seem to be very thirsty. Here, this is for you. Huamin picked up a bottle of water and threw it over. Then she turned around and left the room. Huasiqian didn't call out to her because he knew that with Huamin's personality, she wouldn't let him go so easily. After returning to the cabin, Huamin slowly took out the medicine he had found in Huasiqian's box. That was the medicine that suppressed his second personality, and it was indeed gone. It seemed that the second personality, Jack, had appeared because the medicine was gone. Huamin carefully looked at the medicine bottle. The ingredients were clearly written on it. If an outsider saw it, they wouldn't think much of it, but Huamin was a doctor and was very sensitive to the ingredients. At night, Huamin simply cooked some porridge and calculated the time in his mind as if he was waiting for something. At South Hill Manor, after calling Lu Yen, Qin Chu walked out of the study. He bumped into Qin Ning. Big brother, are you going out? Yeah. Are the kids asleep? Little Bean is asleep. Pudding is still playing on her phone, Qin Ning said. You can stay at home for a few days. Uncle is here so you can help me take care of Pudding and Little Bean. Big brother, you're going out? Qin Ning guessed that her brother was going somewhere far away. Yeah. I'm going to Australia. That far? Qin Ning was slightly surprised at the mention of Australia. Chapter 3105. Emcham, when will you be back? I don't know yet. Qin Ning, don't worry about me. I'll be fine. Qin Chu patted Qin Ning's head lovingly. Big brother, have you heard from my sister-in-law? Yes. Qin Chu nodded. Are you sure you want to go alone? I don't want you to face Huasiqian alone. Qin Ning thought it would be another fierce battle between her brother and Huasiqian. It's okay. Huasiqian isn't that scary. I'll ask Tang Chuan to go with you. I'll feel better if he helps you. Qin Ning picked up her cell phone and was about to call Tang Chuan. Ning, to be honest, this trip will be very dangerous. I didn't even ask Su Yu, let alone Tang Chuan. But don't worry, I have helpers abroad. Really? Isn't Rick going too? Isn't his family very powerful? They don't know if he's not going. After I leave, if anyone asks, just tell them. But, Qin Ning wanted to say something, but Qin Chu didn't give her a chance. It's about time. I'll go now, Ning. Big brother, aren't you going to tell them? Help me tell them that when I come back I'll definitely bring their mommy with me. Then Qin Chu hurried downstairs with a briefcase. The driver drove him to the airport. Qin Ning had mixed feelings. She knew how much her brother loved her sister-in-law. Perhaps no one in the world wanted to see her more than he did. On the top floor of a commercial building in a country in the Middle East, Sir, Mr. Nalo is here, Ian's subordinate reported carefully. My brother is here. Ian raised his finger and put it to his lips with a faint smile. Then a tall blonde man in a black shirt walked in. His aura was very similar to Ian's, but his eyes weren't as gloomy and strange. Where did Huasiqian go? Kid, aren't you going to call me big brother? Ian laughed. Cut the crap. Where did you take him? What are you talking about? Why did you say that I did it? I'm looking for him too. You should know that. Cut the crap. If it weren't for you pressuring him, why would he be like this? I just can't stand it. You can't catch the professor and his daughter, so you put your attention on him. In fact, the professor's other daughter disappeared in the country many years ago, and the professor himself didn't look for her. Are you sure you want to look for the legendary professor's eldest daughter? Brother, you're wrong. Not only am I going to look for her, I think I already know who she is. You mean you found it? Nalo narrowed his eyes slightly at his brother. Yes, I think that person must be her. Then where is she now? Nalo didn't seem to believe Ian's words. Unfortunately, that woman was taken away by Huasiqian. They disappeared together. Ian wasn't stupid. On the contrary, he was very smart and cunning. Huasiqian had repeatedly begged Ian to extend the deadline, but in the end he mysteriously disappeared. He didn't believe that Huasiqian had jumped off a cliff to commit suicide. Therefore there was only one possibility. It was very likely that Huasiqian's beloved woman was the long-lost eldest daughter of the professor he was looking for. Of course, he wouldn't know until he caught the woman and did a DNA comparison. So where's Huasiqian now? Nalo seemed to want to know about him. You're tuning in to the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.